Welcome to the show. I am Allison, founder of The Cheeky Clean and Conscious Cart, and the host of Raw the Podcast, a juicy little podcast helping you live more consciously in a toxic-filled world. I can't believe I'm back here with you in the studio. It's actually New Year's Eve today. Everyone is off work, getting ready to do something major, and nothing for me felt more aligned than getting back in the stew after a brief hiatus of season 1 ending and starting the new year with you. This community is really hard to put into words because I think on the outside looking in, it's like, yeah, she has a product. Yeah, she's always sharing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But when you're inside of it and really the genuine friendships that I've built and the connections I've made via this space over the last few years has grown my heart exponentially and always continues to keep it in perspective for me on why I'm doing this, why I'm sharing my journey. It's all to share lived experience, share resources, and collectively grow and evolve in community. Is one thing to heal alone, but when we can heal together, we shift the trajectory of consciousness in general, and that is where things are powerful. I think we can all agree that this past year has been full of heaviness collectively, everything from societal shifts to the year of the snake and really just shedding a lot. Most people that I've talked to have really felt a lot of challenges that they've went through this year. And it is not just being felt on the individual level, it's really being felt collectively. And I think as a society, we really are starting to look at some of these norms and the way that we've lived as acceptable and saying, wait, this doesn't work anymore. And we need to shift some things up in order to thrive for generations to come. And so I wanted to first and foremost catch you up on the last few months that I've been off of the podcast and why I took a quick beat. I think 2025 in general, not only collectively, but specifically for me, was an incredible learning experience. If you did listen through season 1, you are aware that I quit my corporate job, retired as I called it, in the corporate chemical industry where I was behind the scenes, learning ingredients and supporting large manufacturers for over 13 years. It was a very great learning experience for me. It taught me so much in the ways that I'm now able to share and live differently. It's really what gives me my expert insight into helping you guys make better choices and to fluently read the language of chemical ingredients. But it also became a complete misalignment for me and was a space where, especially after my parents passed away, while I was working there in my 20s, I put my entire worth wrapped up in a bow into this corporate job. And honestly, I cracked in 2024 after attending a Dr. Joe Dispenza 7-day retreat, dealing with a lot of culminations of living unconsciously that came to a head for me. And a drastic change was needed. And it was one of those situations where I've never in my life made such a big, giant leap for myself, but something in me felt so called to do this. And even just looking back now in a year and being like, what I survived is crazy because I was still living in fight or flight for so long after leaving corporate. It's not like I took a beat and I'm like, oh, I'm going to kick it now. It actually kicked it up a notch when I lost security of a steady income. I lost security of coworkers and a steady 9-to-5 and purpose from a societally accepted way, and lost health insurance and was really kind of like cutting the tethers on everything that was keeping me safe for so many years. And I had to really face a lot of those attachment issues, not only to grief and my parents and things that I grew up with, but also relationships and people, both inside and outside of work. It required me to take a hard look at my own self-worth and what I was putting my energy into and start to shift learn patterns in order to not take that same hustle energy into my business that I want to grow and flourish now. It is still hard for me to say my business when it comes to the Cheeky Clean and Conscious Cart because for me, it genuinely is my heart, my creativity, my outlet. And it once felt like this fun, safe space hobby. And once I made that shift, it was almost like pressure that I had to now turn this into a job that would give me the same security that corporate would, or else I wouldn't be worthy. And I had to really unlearn all of that and just trust the process, which came through hard work, a lot of personal reflection, a lot of life changes, and ultimately prayer and faith. It's been a doozy, fam. And I went to the Dr. Joe retreat, the follow-up in October. So it was about a year after the first one that I went to. And as per usual, it shifted some things inside of me, and I felt really called to take a break from. I took I think I took a month and a half off of social media in general, and I took a beat from the podcast and just really wanted to go inside. I was working hard all last year on trying to bring this product to life, which was a journey in itself. It was very up and down. It's a very big investment. I had to have the right consciousness and energy to bring it to life in the way that worked for me. That wasn't necessarily what people would recommend who've been in consumer products historically. And I had a lot of noise around me. So I really wanted to just take a beat and go inside and focus on bringing that to market, continuing to walk the walk of evolving personally, because that is what the Cheeky Clean is. It is a space to live more consciously. And that starts with me as the founder, putting that effort and discipline as my primary focus so that I can show up for these connections that I'm making in the community and the interviews that I'm having on my podcast and creating a vessel for learning, resources, and growth collectively. So first off, I want to thank you guys because you've always given me such grace and space and beautiful friendship through all of life's ups and downs. People think I'm crazy when I say that the Cheeky Clean community is seriously a family to me, but I mean that wholeheartedly. Some of the connections that I've made in that social media space via DMs, via conversations, whether it's in life as owners in Cleveland or consumers in Cleveland or just other people on social media in the DMs. I've had some deep and heartfelt conversations with you guys, and sometimes you don't even realize that the support that you're providing to me in return is the fuel that has made my heart continue to stay focused, especially when I've gotten off track, which I definitely have a little bit this last year at certain points. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the friendships and the authentic connections. That's the number one focus for me. I don't care about the followers and how big it gets. I don't care about, you probably notice I don't do a whole lot of giveaways. I'm not doing the same like cheesy things that, or maybe not cheesy is not the right word, but like the typical formula for social media growth that people recommend, because it matters more to me to know the people with which I'm growing in community together with. It's a long, slow process of us bringing in and bringing up each other as we grow. Every time one of you says, hey, I use this recommendation that you sent, it's really helping me feel better. Or, hey, I'm using the collagen and it's really improving my gut health. Or I gave it to my mom who has osteoporosis and she's feeling stronger. Or, hey, that story that you put up about being vulnerable really hit home with me. And I've had a really hard time over holidays too. So thank you for saying that. When I tell you guys, like, this shit hits me in such a deep way, and I'll never be able to thank you enough for joining me on this journey of living better collectively. As I always say to everyone, we can heal alone, but together we are so powerful. And I do think there is a culmination shift coming where people and humans in general who are more in touch with reality, not this facade that we see of materialism, followings of success on the outside, but more cultivating health and success and wealth on the inside is going to be how we thrive for generations to come. So thank you for being here with me. Looking back at my Spotify for creators, seeing how many of you genuinely tuned into the podcast really helped me to refocus on why I'm doing it in the first place, which again is to collectively join, heal, and grow together and share resources while also continuing my personal evolution of becoming a better, higher version of myself, closer in line with the light. And it wasn't until the Wrapped came out that I saw how many of you guys are really listening to the podcast and listening to the episodes, and it blew my mind. And we are little, but we are mighty. And when you tell one of your friends or a family member or a sister, a brother, a boyfriend, and they can hear and support a resource or a local business in town, our energetic currency just grows and compounds, and it really becomes so powerful. So yeah, we are gonna keep on keeping on. And this year I am going to be getting back to the root. If you started with me back in the day, my signature was like ratchet pictures and videos, and I would really just not care at all about the aesthetic, and all I wanted to do was get this quality information into the world. And we've nailed the aesthetic at this point. I mean, look at this packaging. Thank you, Sammy, Samantha Illustrated, my girl. She nailed it. Aesthetic matters when it comes to packaging, but it doesn't matter when it comes to getting raw, real information out to you guys. So I want to do more real, vulnerable, raw conversations. I want to share more real, raw resources with you. And I don't want to feel like, oh, I can't put this video up until the quality looks better. It's getting out of my head and into my heart is my mantra for the year. Out of the head and into the heart. And if that resonates with you, I encourage you, just like I'm going to do, to write it on a piece of paper and put it on your mirror. Healing is not a linear journey. Really feel like over the last 2 years, honestly, even the last year with making all these big life changes, has been the first time that I've started to try and get out of this fear-based mentality and out of my head in general and really study spiritual text. And all of it says the same thing, whether it's a science-based meditation text like Dr. Joe Dispenza or a spiritual work like Kabbalah. All of it comes back to the same thing, which is our thoughts are not our reality. And as someone who is a highly sensitive being who was diagnosed with OCD in third grade because of my overthinking, I really never learned the tools on how to quiet those thoughts and or not believe them. And in many cases, it's been self-sabotaging for my whole life. It's resulted in severe depression. It's resulted in incredible anxiety, OCD, honestly, loss of really powerful, important relationships, whether it was my boyfriend, husband, or friends. I was so wrapped up in ego thinking mind that I allowed myself to run with these stories that I would create, and in turn that would play out in my external reality. And getting into my heart, doing this type of meditation work, prayer, writing, working out, eating right, supplementing with quality foods, living better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually has been the training ground for getting back to my heart. And it's not that we do these things just to have this good physique or because that's what we're supposed to do. We do these things to heal, to live with more joy, more beauty, more creativity, more inner peace, which is really all that matters, presence. And none of those things, as Eckhart Tolle said, are in the mind. And so in order to really experience the beauty of this life, we have to get out of our minds. And it is my goal to continue to work hard on being a peaceful, joyous person and helping share how I'm getting there and what resources are helping me. Because when you do get to those really dark places, it is so scary. And we'll talk about it in future episodes, especially with the guest I have coming on in a couple weeks. But There were 2 times this year even when I got really, really depressed. One was earlier in the year in like the springtime, and one was just over this Christmas holiday. Suffering can oftentimes be the most powerful tool for healing. And in pain, we see what's no longer serving, and the light, even if it's dim, that surrounds us, that maybe we have been blind to noticing. And amidst this challenging holiday season for a multitude of reasons, I was illuminated to the beautiful, incredible people around me. I'm literally going to cry right now. That I'm so grateful for. This community. Thank you for giving me this outlet to write, to create, to share, and to connect. It really is this source of cathartic healing for me through so many stages of my life. I have some really close people in my life who, when I am in that dark space, don't judge me. They just selflessly show me how to get back to the light. And I think it's hard when you're in it to see the good in yourself or what's around you. But I finally found in this darkness the incredible light within myself that I have attracted these people in my life who are such beautiful beings and are willing to be there and lift me up and pick me up, invite me to their family dinner, thoughtlessly think of me, send me a text, send me a quote, say, hey, I know you're hurting and you will see the light again. It's worth everything. And self-love is something that I've struggled with, and I spent most of my time as an adult numbing these feelings and thoughts that needed to pass through me in order to get back to love and in my heart. I was a addict who suffered deeply from numbing myself in any capacity, whether that was smoking weed every day, all day for the majority of my adult life until September of 2024, materialism, buying things, to relationships, being attached to people and dependent on people and changing myself in order to feel loved because I couldn't feel it myself. I have tremendous sympathy, empathy, and respect for anyone who's on the journey back to themselves, because it's easier to numb and do big shit and go on big trips and be in relationships that are misaligned, or jobs that give you a prestigious title, or buy shit, or smoke a shitload of weed in order to not address that and learn to love yourself. But this holiday, when I felt so low, I'm like, okay, I know why I smoked so much weed before now. But you know what? I'm going to sit in this and feel it, and I'm going to learn the lesson from it. And what came from that was tremendous illumination that I am loved and I am protected. And there is a power greater than me that can help me navigate challenges, and it doesn't need to require self-sabotaging behavior. So a lot of what we're going to share and what I want to create this year is going to be really genuine from my heart. I think there is more confusion than ever in society as to how to get back to their heart and get out of their heads, especially with the influencing culture that we live in. You go on social media and people are just like pummeling you with their highlight reels, with their achievements, with the products that they're being paid to promote. How do you know what's real and what's authentic? It is so hard to figure it out. And so I want to like strip away the aesthetic. Yes, Cheeky, the brand, is always going to be cute. I mean, right? But you may start to notice that I'm getting back to more vulnerable posts, more stories. I want to do more real raw ingredient reviews. I want to talk more about my personal journey with depression, anxiety, and OCD. I want to talk more about relationships. This year, Earlier in season 1, I talked a little bit about dating. It's always weird because when you're like on Hinge and dating, and especially in the Cleveland area, and then you're like talking so openly and vulnerably about people you've dated. It's like hard to really be real, but I do want to share that process because it's fucking crazy out there, man. And oftentimes, as a recovering codependent and person who is also hyper independent and spiritual and focused, it's a whirlwind trying to find or open yourself up to not only a partner who could be a potential fit, but then a relationship, because what if you get hurt? So it's funny, I was sharing on one of the podcast episodes this year about, I'm like, yeah, next thing you know, like just let it fall into place. Like it's a magnet. When you're not looking for it, it'll fall into place. And like, sure enough, one of my podcast guests on here, we just kind of hit it off and we got into a relationship over the last few months. And it's been a big learning experience for me. I think that oftentimes we think that alone we learn so much, which we do. I needed the time this year and still do need time to be an individual and cultivate individual growth. I think that is actually the foundation for any of us to have the ability to show up in relationships of any sort. But many books that you'll read or therapists you talk to, Course in Miracles talks about this a lot. Real growth and tests come in the form of relationships, whether that's friends or romantic relationships. And it's because relationships are a mirror. Nothing that we attract to us is random. We attract to us what we need in order to evolve to the next level. And in the past, when I was not yet ready individually to grow and evolve, the relationships that I would attract, I would not be open to the lesson and I would shut them down as soon as they got hard, or I would put myself into situations that were misaligned because alignment meant looking in the mirror. And this year I did a lot of personal work, and then I attracted in this relationship that was brought into my life, just like the rest of them, to teach me things about myself and areas that I still need to heal and address, and triggers, reactions that are opportunities for immense growth, more than I could ever do alone. And it kind of rocked my world a little bit. At first, of course, it's just like honeymoon stage and vibes, and that's all beautiful, especially when it's with someone that you really align and connect with on a deep level. But at a certain point, you are going to start seeing those triggers, because that is the point of a purposeful relationship. And it kind of came to a head for me over the holidays, where I realized I still have a lot of personal work to do on being in alignment with myself and my heart, and unlearning patterns from the past and releasing guilt from the past in order to be a higher, better version for myself and my partner. And more importantly than any of it is to be okay with being present and being joyful. I've almost gotten comfortable in pain and used to it. And so when things are good or joyous or beautiful, I'm like waiting for the shoe to drop, and that's scarcity mindset. And so I've had to like take a beat over the last few weeks and say, Allie, you're losing yourself, homie. Come back to earth, come back to your practices, come back to your resources, come back to your daily habits and disciplines, because you cannot give to another if you are not giving to yourself. And so we are here to drink the well of conscious higher living together. And the podcast couldn't be coming back at a better time, because I need to focus on these resources. I have people I want to talk to, and why not talk to them while I'm healing and growing and evolving, while also sharing this with other people who feel like they want to heal and grow and evolve too. Everything from physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You guys know I'm always going to have a mix of guests on and personal conversations, because it is not a one size fits all. If you're lacking in any one of these areas, career, health, relationships, relationships, emotionally, spiritually, you are going to be misaligned in the others. We are one and whole individuals. And so there is no such thing as my career is great, but my health is jacked. That catches up with you. There's no such thing as my relationship is not aligned, but we have this big, beautiful house, so it's all good. Everything that is not in alignment catches up and eventually has to be addressed. There is confusion that happens with short-term gains because one or all areas of their individual wholeness is not in alignment. So the vessel, meaning like the individual, the soul that's here on this earth, has to do the work in order to hold the blessings. And if we are lacking in any of those areas, we just can't hold it. It's that simple. And it's okay when things fall because it's reminders that we have opportunities to create a vessel that's more light-filled and capable of holding that light. And frankly, capable of a bigger, more beautiful, more peaceful, more aligned life in all those areas than our thinking brain can even comprehend. So when I was thinking about this episode and New Year's resolutions, for me, it's not about a resolution. And I want to challenge you guys to stop thinking about your resolutions and what you need to do this year in order to be worthy. Instead, let's think about it as a revolution. And what are we changing or doing differently in order to feel better, lighter, and more able to carry the highest versions of ourselves? And that means silencing the noise, taking a beat and saying, all this stuff that I'm seeing externally, it isn't real in the scheme of our hearts and souls. What's real is that peace, that creativity, that love and joy that we can cultivate and feel. And those feelings are not thoughts. Those are energy. And it doesn't come from comparing yourself to others on social media or something that an influencer can sell you or using an abundance of products that are disrupting your system. It comes from intentionality and being conscious of the energy, the disciplines, the people, the life that you're creating for yourself because of this awareness that you've gained. And I think that is possible. How many people are living with health issues? It's rising. Cancer is growing. Kids are getting sick younger. Women have more and more fertility issues at younger ages. The suicide rate is growing exponentially. The writing is on the wall that the standard resolutions are no longer working. And what we need is individual and collective revolutions to create a new path forward, new vessels, new space, and new energy to move different and live within our highest versions. I'm going to do everything I can to vulnerably and genuinely and authentically share tips, tools, resources, and feelings that are helping me evolve, holding me back, in hopes that these two can help support you in your growth journey. And that's going to be anything from daily habits to books to podcasts to guests that we'll have on here in interviews and anything that I can do and create to help you live better and lighter, as well as myself. And together, we are going to be a huge force for a more conscious, happier, healthier world. And I believe that with my whole entire soul. While I was on my break, I, of course, was working on bringing the collagen to life. The collagen is a long time coming, and it was so important to me to share, especially supplements, beauty products, foods, and things that we use on a day-to-day basis that are really weighing heavy on our toxin load as consumers, because those shifts that we make, especially in our daily routine, have a significant impact on bringing that toxin load down and allow you the space to have hope for longevity and fill your body with things that actually improve your defenses towards disease, your happiness, your health in general, while knowing that there is so many toxins in this world, will never be perfect, but why not create the strongest vessel possible by making intentional choices? So the collagen became this really important part of my daily routine. I've always been someone who has a hard time taking 100 supplements. I'm not a fan of that. I think there are a few core supplements that are really powerful for our day-to-day routines, some of which I take every day, but the collagen is the only thing that I could really work into my daily routine and never miss a day no matter what. So when it came to making the decision on if I wanted to take on the brand by myself and really invest in taking it to the next level, there really was no question. It was like, how can we not? The Cheekies love this. I love this. And frankly, there's no other collagen on the market that I can take. So if I don't take this to the next level, what's going to be my staple in my daily routine? And then my gut health, my joint health, my hair, skin, and nails are going to suffer. And as you guys know, I've stopped using Botox. I've stopped getting my nails done. I really don't use a whole lot of skincare or makeup products. So for me, doing specific things that are going to help me age naturally from the inside out is so important because I don't want to do the toxic things. And this collagen became this incredible part of my daily routine. So I happened to leave corporate. I happened to have this opportunity to take on the collagen formula. And I said, yeah, Mustard Seed, introduce me to the manufacturer. I want to work with them directly. And I want to bring this to life in the cheeky style that can get in even more consumers' hands, especially as a tool for teaching, because it's a way to help educate physically how to make an intentional choice. Supplements have very limited regulations, and a lot of shit can be on the market that is not only ineffective, but it's also expensive and it's also potentially toxic. So when it comes to the why of how we're using the Cheeky Collagen, it can be applied to other supplements in the industry. Is it third-party tested? Where is the sourcing coming from? Is it effective? How do you feel when using it? These are all things that we're going to continue to educate on together as we grow and heal using the collagen. But I was so passionate about it. We went back and forth. I switched manufacturers a few times. My friend Gabe can account to it. He probably wanted to kill me a few times throughout the process. I lost my mind. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I investing in this? Screw this. I'm not doing this. And I kept the vision. And so here we are. The collagen is in life. And I'm so honored to have gotten to this point. It's surreal to have gotten to this point where it can be available for you. And sure enough, I've had many people tell me your product won't be successful if it's not in all the big box stores, if you're not churning 1 million units over and over again, there's no point in doing it. And honestly, guys, I'm so over that. I just recently had a meeting with someone who was, trying to tell me how I should bring my collagen to market and all these places I should be in. And I realized, I have a different vision than what's the norm, and that's okay. And that's what makes the brand different. So I'm not going to have the product in any stores that are out of alignment. It's not going to be another number on a shelf next to 4 other collagens that are trash. I'm intentionally connecting with businesses and brands that I believe in and offering the Cheeky brand as an extension to that. So where you'll find it locally is Mustard Seed Market, which is so aligned. They've been instrumental in helping me bring this product to life. So I couldn't be more ecstatic and honored to be on their shelves. I'm so inspired by their business and everything that they're bringing to the community. You can also shop other safe source supplements and do all your safe grocery shopping in there. Their standards are incredible. So you'll find it at Mustard Seed. You'll find it at Banyan Tree, which it's been the light for me this last year. And we're going to go into more detail on all of these brands in future episodes because their stories and their connection to my evolution has been so purposeful that it just feels right to share it and help it be a resource for others. But Banyan Tree is a light in the community, a force and a staple for consciously sourcing. So it is on the shelves at Banyan Tree. It is on the shelf at Wellstock in Van Aken, which is so cool. I'm so inspired by Kate Tertian, the owner. She's been ahead of her time in clean beauty with the store Self Maker. She's been on the podcast, one of the first episodes of season 1, so go back and listen to that. And now a space for consciously sourced kitchen and home goods, as well as other local brands she features. So the Collagen is a perfect fit there for the Eastsiders. Van Aken is the spot. And then as of this week, it will be at Bronze and Beauty, which is the only non-toxic self-tanner that I'm aware of from a professional standpoint. The owners are such inspirations. They've been lights in my life, inspirational, and so purposeful in helping me align with different resources in the community. Their story is also one that's really cool too. So that will be offered here within the next week at their location in Westlake. And the goal is you might go and pick up the Cheeky Collagen physically, but what you gain by being in the space and in the vessel where it's held is astronomical opportunities for you to heal, not only from the conscious owners who are creating the vessel, but then also the other products and the safe materials that they're offering. So the collagen has come to life. Obviously, that's what I was working on in the hiatus, but I also was getting back to what my real focus and purpose is here. And not only connecting with local brands or vessels, and it doesn't have to be local, just conscious business owners in general who see the same vision in me where Cheeky can be a great extension and offered in their store, but also changing the way we consume, revolutionizing the way we consume. To go back to that word, revolution. The norms aren't working. The way we've bought, blindly purchased, bought what we've been told to in the past. It's not working. We're sicker than ever. We're more unhappy than ever. And our earth is more in detriment than ever. And shit has to change. And it takes us wanting to make those small but powerful changes on a habitual level to start to create this momentum collectively where consumerism takes on a new vision and a new purpose. And that's my goal. And so that's kind of how Conscious Cart was birthed. Of course, the Cheeky Clean is like the bread and butter. It's where you can go to the website. I'm in the process of building it out, but that's going to be the educational space. So you learn at TheCheekyClean.com. I want to really build out that space to be a resource for consumers to learn more and not make just one conscious decision, but apply that to informed consumerism becoming easier and becoming something that you're empowered to do. And you're telling your family, oh, hey, use this product because this is safer. And it becomes a knowledge that you cultivate and not just something that's overwhelming and hard to navigate. So that's really the goal of the Cheeky Clean, learning and educating and sharing resources. And I wanted the shop to be separate from the Cheeky Clean because the shop, Conscious Cart, is going to be more than just the collagen, and it's going to take some time to build that out. But for right now, it is where we're offering the flagship product. And the vision is to have a safe space where you can go and shop multiple curated Cheeky approved products without having to wonder, is this safe? Is this approved? Who is making these recommendations? Is it alignment? Does this person know one thing about ingredients or manufacturing who's greenwashing and telling me that I should buy it for my family? Has it been tampered with? Is the producer being raped by their profit and not even going to be able to stay in business because Amazon is taking all of their money in order to put it on their platform? It's going to be a space for not only consumers to shop safely, but for brands that are conscious to sell safely and effectively. So stay tuned for more coming there. I'm working on the back end and I'm consciously curating the partners that I think would be a great fit to offer alongside the collagen and other products. So all of the links are available on the Cheeky Clean website, but Conscious Cart is basically like another brand that I decided to bring to life alongside launching the collagen and rebranding the Cheeky Clean's websites. One thing I've learned through my interviews here is that even professionals in the health and wellness space aren't necessarily versed in ingredients. And so it's my goal to use this knowledge that I have from my corporate background to provide resources to everyone who wants to live less toxic. And there are ways to do so that aren't overwhelming. And then the podcast, we are going to vibe this year between guests that we have coming on. I have someone really cool coming next that is poignant for the new year. And I'll leave it at that. And a couple guests lined up for January that are really incredible resources that I can't wait to learn from and share with you guys. And if you know anyone or think that you'd want to learn from someone or feel like it's in alignment and connection with the mission that we're on, please DM me and share it with me. I'd love to expand on that and really try to bring different perspectives, insights, and experiences to the podcast. We're also going to start a Raw the Podcast book club. So if you've been following my Instagram, we are starting with a Louise Hay book, which, by the way, a couple books I wanted to mention from this past year that really changed my life. For anyone who needs some soul-shifting books, between audiobooks and hard copy books, I read so many books this year. You guys know I'm obsessed with books. It's my safe space, my escape, my way to touch back in, all the things. And a couple of the books that really changed my perspective this year that I wanted to mention are Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, All the Way to the River by Elizabeth Gilbert, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Those would be my top 4 for the year. So if you need some soul-shifting, life-changing, incredible reads, take a peek at those. I'll put them in the show notes. And then for our first book club book, we are going to read together and then debrief on the podcast some of the core topics from the book. We'll do this maybe every other month, I'm thinking, because we need time to read it. And I don't want it to become something overwhelming for us, but I think could really cultivate some cool discussion and allow us to build some community around different perspectives. So the first book is going to be You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it's available on audio or hard copy. You can get it at thrift books for $4 if you want to get your own copy. It's available at the library, local bookstores. Snag a copy wherever works for you. I think this is one that you want to have in your arsenal. So maybe do get the hard copy, even if you do listen on audio too. But later this month, January, we will debrief this book together. So whether it's end of January or early February, we'll go through some of the core topics. So get the book, take a peek. It is so far so good. I'm 75% through it right now, and it's really, really incredible and an awesome healing resource, and I think a great space to start the year with a fresh mindset and a fresh focus. 2025, year of the snake, we shed majorly. A couple of the things for me that I guess are core themes, in addition to some of the things I've talked about, from a personal standpoint of really trying to heal, I've also kind of focused on this materialistic life and decided that I want to commit to really trying to shift my lifestyle to be the highest version of myself. And I was wrapping up some societal norms still in my worth, and that included materialism, and thinking if I downsize the way that I'm living, I'm almost admitting that I'm not, comfortable or secure financially or whatever, and that I shouldn't be taking this hiatus from corporate. But I realized a lot of those times when I had the big house, had all the stuff, I was most unhappy. And so recently I downsized dramatically. I don't think I've lived in a space this small since I graduated college, honestly, which felt weird as a 7-year-old, but it's been so freeing. I really got rid of a lot of material shit, donated so much, and created space energetically for this magic and beauty I want to cultivate in my vessel for lighter, higher living. And it's been a savings financially, but also created immense savings energetically. And it was a hard decision. So I want to remind you guys that, like, if you're wherever you're at and you think you should be further or somewhere else, like, none of that shit matters. All that matters is the presence and inner peace and beauty and magic and joy that we can cultivate in the moment. The job, the relationship status, the title, the financial wealth, this outside stuff, it does not matter. And so back to basics we go in 2026. From a routine standpoint, it's going to continue to be my core. Every time I've gotten out of alignment this year, it's because my routine has gotten out of alignment. I want to do less and focus on more intentional. That includes working out, that includes eating, that includes the energy that I'm putting into my business. It includes all things. Less is more. And if we can really hone in on those few things, those staples that really help us feel good, those resources, instead of spreading ourselves too thin in too many ways that we can't stick to consistently, that's when we have the opportunity to really see the change in the vessel. So less is more. Blocking the outside noise, screw the resolutions. We are creating a cheeky ass revolution. And I'm so honored to be on this journey with you guys. There is some really cool stuff coming. It's my honor to serve. But more importantly, I am with utmost gratitude for all the ways in which you serve me. And together we are so powerful and ever evolving human beings. So please like and subscribe to this podcast if you find value in it. Follow me at TheCheekyClean and Conscious Cart. Snag your product and let me know how it's helping you. Stay in touch. Message me. I'll always respond. And let's continue to grow together. Happy 2026. By the way, merch is coming. I can't believe I went this whole episode without talking about the fact that I'm wearing the new Cheeky podcast merch. So Raw the Podcast merch is here. We are going to give you guys a discount, so stay tuned for that. For listeners only. It is really cool to be a force together, and that's the goal of putting the merch out, is wear it around town, tell other people about the show, let's connect, let's grow. It is my honor to be back with you again. I will see you soon on episode 2. Happy New Year. Thank you for everything. I love you, Cheekies. XO.